How? Ooh, here we go. I found it. Handle.
Thank you. Please get rid of those beta numbers.
All right, it should be better now. You can check on your end, either of you.
You.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have the live videos at all. That's dumb.
Please get rid of those beta numbers. Thanks for the beta numbers comment being live on YouTube. That was the first second of the recording, but we are live now. Just FYI.
You can check on your phone. Either of you.
It works on my end.
Doesn't the live videos at all? Ooh, here we go. I found it.
Thanks for the beta.
It sounds good on my end, so
Did you get rid of it, Jordan? Yes. Goodbye, numbers. Very much. All right, time to get the thumbnail in. Then we'll post the link everywhere. Dan, if you could when we're ready, if you could post it on the Instagram story.
I would love to.
I'll post it on my Instagram story. Jordan, if you could post it on your Instagram story, and I'll take care of Twitter. Okay.
Greg
What'd you say?
said Mr. Greg is in the chat.
Oh,
Said hello.
hello,
welcome.
Greg. Welcome. We're just setting everything up. Happy to have you here.
Drop your master's pick in the chat,
Please.
please.
Only one name is acceptable, of course.
Ooh. We could get a Instagram verified badge.
Might be something worth looking into. Because I don't think as many people are as aware that you can just get Instagram badges. You know what I mean?
You have to apply still, I'm pretty sure. I think I did like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I have not heard back yet.
Thanks for Jim Quick. The Rangers under is a crap show right now. Come on with that. Are we still live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is it not showing up? All right, I guess I'll have to do it on my Okie.
Will Sammy win a Masters? I
It's gonna
mean,
be a no
I think
thanks.
I think first things first, I'd like to see his father, holding him up on the 18th green after a Jordan win. But
Sammy has many steps until he reaches the pinnacle of golf.
I don't think a father-son duo has ever both won the Masters. So
That would be
I'd also-
sick.
I'd also say he lost strokes on the putting green today, so that will need some work.
his speed was quite poor.
I would agree with that.
Follows in his father's footsteps, some might say, with the poor speed of late.
Well, it isn't this week.
I hope so. Should I put it now or no? On IG.
Yeah, and that's fine. I put it in
Yeah.
mine like 15 minutes ago.
Okay. I will put it now. It is now on Instagram. Man, I'm so excited.
And Jordan, you're gonna record this too. Remember, just for the
Okie dokie.
You gotta
For,
give
give
him
okay, for Anchor.
permission.
Got it.
is that Ellis in the
That would
chat?
be, I believe.
Thanks for
Friend of
Ellis.
the podcast.
Hello, EWW2.
Friend of the podcast. Thank you for that. JWGW. Or-
I will say Ellis asked a very good question for Mr. Justin Ray earlier this week.
What was
It
that
was a
question?
It was what is Spieth's scoring average on number 10?
He is a known dominator of the 10th hole.
Yes.
Which is good because if it goes to a playoff, they go 18, 10, 18, I do believe.
true.
Oh, there are two Alex Ellis.
Thrill of victory must be played. Well, we won't be playing the song. I don't think we can play it, Alex, because we
That
have
would be a no,
copyright.
Alex.
No,
Unfortunately.
no. But we encourage you to have it on in the background.
I would agree with that
Ooh,
sentiment.
good morning from Ireland. Good
From
morning.
Ireland. Wow.
Good evening from the United States. Good morning to you in
Yes.
Ireland. That is
An
awesome.
early morning in Ireland.
I
I
hope
mean, it's
you
2 in the. Is it 2 in the morning there?
It's probably 1.
just
I think they're 6 hours.
Just a fair warning. I'll lose all respect if you're not up for the starters tomorrow. So-
Well, from Ireland, they'll be up.
It's gonna be perfect. Yeah.
That'll be midday.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I wonder if he's a Rory fan.
Please no.
Fourth
Let it be known I
major.
will be spewing Rory takes tonight.
Interesting. I may have. Oh, hello, Mr.
Major.
Upson.
4th major incoming. We can hope. Just is Spieth the only guy on 3 right now on the field?
On what?
Is he the only guy on 3 majors in the field? I think excluding like the old guys, obviously, because there might be
Don't
an old guy with
exclude
3.
them, Carp.
Well, I mean,
He might be. Zach Johnson doesn't have 3, right?
he's got 2.
There's a lot of guys who could get to 3.
True. Oh, good evening from Michigan. Another Michigander.
Hello. Well, yeah, Brooks has 4 and Rory has 4, but nobody else has 3.
True.
Obviously Tiger has 5 times 3.
Good math there.
Mr. Jack has 6 times 3.
Big Jordan Spieth fan. Same. That's why we're here. Very exciting time headed tomorrow. Well, today for you, but tomorrow for us.
Yes. So that is prime time Spieth golf tomorrow for you in Ireland.
It's exciting.
That will be fun.
Exciting. Are you ready to get going here, Bob?
Yes, I just posted to Twitter.
The Twitter.
The Twitter world.
The Twitter sphere.
Should be good to go, I believe.
Okie
I
dokie.
will be happy to get us started.
Yeah, go ahead.
And yeah, you can hit the record button and we'll get going.
Alrighty. Good evening from Canada. Good evening to you. We have a Canadian friend as well.
Yes, we do. Hold chat up.
Yeah.
Good
You ready, Bob?
evening. Yes, I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's roll.
Good evening, good morning from wherever you are in the world. It is Masters Week. 4 days that we look forward to very intensely throughout the year. They are finally here. This is episode 82 of the Go Get That podcast. We welcome you in with open arms and with great excitement as we get going. Previewing the Masters tournament, which is tomorrow. Quick turnaround. Can't even really describe my excitement in words. This is as good as I felt about Jordan Spieth in a very long time going into a Masters. So this is right where I feel like we wanted to be 3-4 months ago. It was looking a little dark back around the TOC and the
Mr. Sony.
Isn't pretty. Sony. Well, we didn't play Farmers, but yeah.
I didn't play Farmers. You
You opened it.
Dan
pretty well
just
there,
Dan
Bob.
just mentioned the Farmers preview
Oh.
recap episode, so that's why I thought about that.
From a year ago, yeah.
Yes, please.
That was brutal. But yeah, you pretty much said it perfectly. It's just 4 days, really 7 days. I mean, I look forward to the whole week. I mean, really even 8 days now since, Jordan didn't play leading in this year. We got to see him on Sunday at the drive, chip and putt, handing out trophies.
That was cool.
It's just such a cool 7 days as like a whole. There's really no tournament, even all the other three majors. There's not like 7 days of just pure like joy. I mean,
Mhm.
Tuesday last night, you got the champions dinner, that photo with the walrus on the right side, with the live guys on one side, Spieth. Then today with the par three with Sammy. I mean, it's just a family affair and just a really fun week. And obviously excitement for us with Jordan coming in with some really good form, and can't wait to get it started tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'm excited that Thursday is almost here. I haven't consumed as much Masters as I would have hoped so far these first 3 days, but the time is nearly coming for an excellent week of golf. Bob, you said it pretty well. You said you're feeling pretty good about Spieth for the first time in a while, and I think Spieth said it himself. He's feeling pretty good about Spieth for the first time in a while. So that's some exciting stuff coming back to a place that obviously the course history is outside of Tiger, probably second to none in this field. So I mean, what a week, and I'm excited to kind of chat it up. I know we'll talk a bunch of Spieth, but we'll also get into other guys, and
Oh yeah.
Elyse will come on at some point, help us sort of roast our bets and whatnot. So
this is going to be a little bit of a longer episode. Obviously, it's the Masters. I think last year our Masters preview was like an hour and a half. Usually our episodes are anywhere from 50 minutes to an hour and 5 minutes usually. But who knows? We're live. So if any of you guys want to contribute to the conversation, please do that. We have to fill some time before Elyse comes back because she has to take care of her beautiful baby boy. So always welcome for input. I'm really excited to talk about this tournament. There's so many different storylines going in this week. It's really exciting to think about. We're finally here. Just starting off the top of my head, thinking about the Champions Dinner last night, I would have liked a little more drama out of there, but one thing I couldn't help but notice was the rather large gap between Reed and the right side of the picture. So it's funny because I think there are some people on Live who relationships, believe it or not, have not changed with the PGA Tour professionals much. People like Dustin Johnson, Cam Smith, I still think are very highly respected. Probably by people like Rory McIlroy,
Koepka too. I think.
I think Koepka as well. A lot of people didn't like Koepka before. I don't know. I think that's just who he is.
I think it's more of a fans not liking Koepka. I think
but there are definitely some people who didn't like him on
That's
tour.
Fair. But
he wins a lot,
though. Yeah,
he does.
So,
but people like Smith, Koepka, DJ, like they've earned that respect. They've won big tournaments, and they haven't necessarily done the things that Phil have done to sort of give them a reason to lose that respect. So,
Phil, I think I forgot who reported it. Might have been like Fuzzy Zeller. Phil apparently didn't say a single word at the Champions Dinner last night. So I think that kind of speaks for itself there.
Which I would say is a little bit mature of him in a sense. I feel like that was definitely the higher road. He definitely could have caused a stir at the dinner, and I think he realized that it was not the place or the time. So I respect that. I think that was probably the right decision from his point of view. I'm sure that the Riddler was happy with that decision. I'm sure that the Riddler wants nothing to do with that drama this week. But I'm really excited to see how these guys play, man. I mean, we haven't seen them. People like Dustin John. I know Jordan doesn't like watching Cam Smith play because he's annoying, making all of his putts. But
I'm not worried about him this week. I don't think it'll be a factor personally.
I love watching those guys play. I would love to see Koepka contend. I would love to see DJ contend. I'd love to see one live guy in contention. I think that would be really, really, really cool.
I think there will be.
But I think there will be. I mean, they were talking about on the par 3 broadcast today that Dustin Johnson is the 69th or something like that best player in the world, I believe.
Yeah.
But then they were also saying he's obviously not the 69th best player in the world, though. So it would be interesting to see where he is there. Cam Smith does have a win in the last year that's not on the PGA Tour since he moved to Live. I think he won like
Australian event.
Was it the Australian Open?
In Chicago.
That is
Live Chicago.
That's an alpha event, by the way, the Australian Open. But he missed the cut at the Saudi International, I believe.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Smith said in his presser he's not playing as well, so I didn't I don't really think he'll be there. I have a weird feeling Patrick Reed will be in the mix after a couple days.
Seen a couple people that
Um,
have agreed with that statement.
I think Kepka will play pretty well. Because I think he's the dude that once he gets it going, it's gonna go pretty well. I worry a little bit about like this. We'll talk about the weather at some point. But this weekend's gonna get cold, and I think if you and it's gonna be a little bit windy, and if you don't trust your golf ball and you don't play in those conditions very often, like the live guys who probably play a lot more of golf in the sun, like golf, when it's really nice out and things like that. I think you have a hard time trusting your game to the fullest, then you can't score as well as you might typically score. So that's kind of the issue for me in trusting live guys to go make a deep run in this tournament, outside of the fact that I just haven't seen them play a whole lot and we don't have a lot of numbers on where their games are at.
Yeah, that's my thing. I think we'll get to the bets when Elyse comes on, but like there's like no strokes gained numbers from their tour. So like I obviously know just based on where guys are finishing, who's playing good on live and who isn't, but like you don't, unless you're watching, and none of the three of us are watching, you don't know how they're scoring. You don't know why they're shooting, why Charles Howell shot 18 under. Not like Mr. Howe's in the field this week, but that's just an example. But yeah, I think I don't necessarily believe a live guy will win this week, but I think they do have, I mean, the PGA Tour still dominates them in terms of talent, but they have their talented guys. I think Bob said it, talking about DJ. I think DJ is my pick from the live field of the guys that I think is most likely to win. I don't think he will win, obviously, but I think he is the guy who is number one in my live power rankings for this week.
Yeah. I definitely, and I know that I don't think I have them for the podcast, but on my own separate side bets, I definitely have a wager on DJ. I think that there's a lot of value on those guys. But the guy I want to talk about is Kepka. Kepka hasn't contended a major in a while. I think the last time he did was when Phil won. This is the first major I think we've seen him at in a long time where he is, to the extent that we know, as healthy as we've seen him in a while. So I was really interested by the way he approached the par 3 contest today. He looked very serious. He looks like he wants to make a statement this week. I think a lot of people have written him off in recent years, not only because of his move to live, but because, big, mentally strong Killer Brooks, kind of that reputation was tarnished when he lost to Phil at Kiowa. So I think Kepka is my my dark horse contender from live this week. I think that Kepka will make some noise. I definitely think he'll be there at least somewhat. Do I think he'll win? I mean, probably not, because Spieth's going to win by 6-7 shots. But I think Kepka's got a really good chance to be there on Sunday.
Yeah, I think my favorite part of, well, I guess I don't have a lot of parts that I like about this whole live PGA Tour stuff, but at least this week it feels like, all right, there's guys on live and there's guys on the PGA Tour, but it hasn't caused any issues, and it's sort of just like a thing that people are embracing in a sense. I don't think there's a ton of animosity. I don't think there's a ton of hate because somebody's on the live tour, because somebody's not on the live tour, right? I think people don't like Patrick Reed just because he's Patrick Reed, and it's not because he's Patrick Reed on live. So I think that's been fun, and it'll be interesting to see what the broadcast looks like, because obviously CBS and I think probably ESPN would agree to show live guys if they're in contention. Obviously there's no live guys in featured groups, which I'm not terribly surprised by, but it'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to see DJ hit some shots, Kepka hit some shots. I mean, one of my favorite, obviously Spieth is my favorite player, but Kepka in a contention in a major is just, it's a lot of fun, and
I agree.
He's really, really good at being, he's almost the opposite of Spieth. It's like so boring in it, but it's not boring, but it's like the scorecard is boring. it's like 4 birdies and a bogey, and he makes it look simple. And the 3 under, he just keeps moving up the leaderboard.
Well,
So
you
it's
look
a
back.
fun week.
You look back to. I still can't believe this happened, but when Brooks and Spieth played at the Ryder Cup, like that was such a like I don't. That's like almost a feat. Like I don't even.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't even make sense. But you look at that, really showed how polar opposite they are.
Right.
So definitely very contrasting to Spieth and what we're looking at this week from him. But man, I mean, for me at the Masters, it will always be win or bust for Jordan. I'm never really gonna look at a T3 and be like, great week at the Masters.
No, not at this point.
This is the Masters, right? We look at a T3 at the
Players.
Waste Management Phoenix Open and are like, good building stone for the Masters in a few months.
Pretty much. Yep.
Everything builds up to this week. Besides the PGA, which only up until one win is the most important event of the year. But besides that, it's the Masters.
Right. This is it.
This is the peak of the golf season. This is what these are the 4 days of the year that this is our Super Bowl, right?
This is where you want your game to be at its peak, and then you just try and hold it here for as long as you can. Nobody's peaking for the FedEx Cup playoffs except Cantlay, I suppose. Nobody. I mean, obviously, you want to try and peak for the Open, the PGA, the U.S. Open, but this is where you really want to get it in gear. Yeah, I mean, are we talking third? We talking Spieth now? We going? I see some featured group talk in the chat.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at the chat. Let me pull that up.
The other group, I believe, I don't know who's typing stuff in for us, but
I have been typing. Yeah, I've been.
It's I believe it is Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, so Scotty, Rahm, Tiger, and Spieth are the four
featured
tomorrow.
groups.
I think that's all of them.
Yeah, so Scotty, Homa, and Sam Bennett. I believe is his name.
Is it? Yeah, I think it's Bennett. I'm pretty sure.
So he'll that'll be a group that'll be off at 1:36 p.m. We might as well get into the Dan the Man weather report while we're
go
on
ahead.
the subject of Thursday. So the weather has looked a lot better recently. We're expecting quite a bit of rain on Saturday, but not enough. It originally was projected like an inch of rain, and now it's about half an inch, which Augusta should be able to hold. So as I mentioned earlier, the weekend is going to be cold and a bit windy, very wet. It's going to be soft. I know they've got sub air, but that's not going to do a whole lot on the weekend. Thursday and Friday, however, should play pretty tough tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow and Friday. Not as much wind. The PM AM wave is definitely going to have the easier stretch in terms of wind. They're going to see very consistent course setup. I don't think it's going to be as firm and as fast as people want it to be, just because it's been raining there quite a bit. But it'll be plenty green, and I think Friday morning especially would be a good time to go shoot a 3, 4, 5 under round and then really establish yourself for the weekend. And then Friday afternoon gets a little bit tricky. So PM AM guys definitely got at least the way it's shaping up now, definitely got the benefit. And then I think the weekend, probably 2, 3 under is going to be a good score both Saturday, Sunday. So
yeah, you mentioned the wave. I think it's been maybe a little bit since Jordan's been in like the good wave.
Yeah,
it's nice to have it happen at Augusta, obviously.
It has happened.
Yeah, Jordan's been kind of battling some waves, and I know, especially in the majors, you really want to be in that good wave, and I think Jordan will hopefully be in it. But yeah, just getting back to Spieth, Bob kind of said it perfectly again. Like I was talking to Bob before we jumped on here, and I'm like, I expect Jordan Spieth to win this week. A solo second, it doesn't do anything for me at this point. I expect him. I think his game is, it's ready to win. I've kind of looked back over the last, 10 to 15 Masters winners, And Jordan will not be, if he does, get that second green jacket this weekend. He is not the only guy that hasn't won leading up to the Masters. So like I know there's a lot of doubters that say like, down the stretch, like he can't win. Well, there's a lot of guys like that. There are a lot of guys that just T3, T4 themselves, up into the Masters and then win. I think Jordan can do that. I think everything, we after match play, we talked about, dialing the wedges, getting the speed ready, and that's about it. Jordan, I think, is ready to go. I think, and what I saw in the range, obviously that only tells so much. Looked very, very dialed, locked in. I mean, Michael Greller has been working overtime this week like he usually does. First man out there on Monday, last man out there Tuesday night yesterday. Dan says it all the time, like Greller knows. And I think Greller's got a pretty good sense that Jordan's game is where it needs to be to, be having the jacket put on him by Mr. Scheffler on Sunday night. But
which would be nice because then he
would be
will
nice.
once again be on top of the Texas Longhorn PGA Tour
yes,
group.
yes, sir.
Which would be nice. So my take on Spieth this week is this podcast is very very adamant that weeks like the Byron Nelson and the Valspar are the weeks where we chase FedEx Cup points, not the Masters. The Masters is you win or you lose. And for now, unfortunately, 8 years, it's been that's crazy to think about, man. It's absolutely crazy. It's been 8 years.
It's been too long.
Too long. But then again, if Jordan Spieth continues to play at Augusta the way that he has his entire career, he would get at least one more jacket, if not more.
You would hope.
Yeah.
So he just got to keep playing like that. And I won't like sometimes you can play really well and lose. Like it or not, Jordan Spieth could play pretty darn well this week and run into an unfortunately unstoppable Rahm or Scotty, which is the thing that I'm most worried about. Is that Jordan goes out there and beats the field by 3, but loses to Scotty by 2. Like that's the sort of result that I am most afraid of. Other than that, I mean, he's intimidating this week. People are afraid of Jordan Spieth this week.
Ooh,
Interesting.
Which I don't say a lot, but
Yeah,
I think
That's
if Spieth can,
it's valid.
last out tomorrow, 2 p.m., last group, Jordan's going to know what the good score is. I think if, Friday or end of Thursday, you see Spieth towards the top of the leaderboards and with like a red 5 next to his name, I'd have to agree with you, Bob. It's funny too, because like we watch Spieth like a ton and we know the putter's been bad. I think if you put a red 5 next to Spieth's name, they're going to think, oh, this guy's just making everything again around here and I'm going to, struggle to keep up. I think that perception could easily get into a lot of players' heads around this golf course because people just think he's this amazing putter, even though he hasn't been. But I think I'd agree. Last off tomorrow, we're gonna have a pretty good sense of what a good score is, and hopefully he comes out, sticks to the game plan, and plots himself around well with Mr. Greller on the bag.
Well, I think that's kind of I was gonna say the key, and obviously, like you want to just shoot under par every day so that you win. But I think Friday might be obvious. Got to get off to a good start Thursday just to get your name up there. But being able to make a move on Friday morning and post something going into Saturday, I think that's where, if you want to talk about the intimidation factor, so to speak, I think that's where that would have the most relevance. Because if he posts something on Thursday, nobody is going to be on the course to see it. But when he goes out Friday mid-morning and posts something with the collective 2 rounds, that's when people are going to see it and be like, all right, we've got to deal with this guy this weekend. And to your point, I told Bob this before we got on, I am full throttle this week. Like I'm usually I keep my expectations in check, and I'll still do that in some sense, but I'm ready to ride this train because I think it's going somewhere really fun. And if for some reason it crashes and burns, I am also crashing and burning this week. So It
I
is
am fully with you there,
Your
dude.
liver
it is
die
full
right there.
throttle. I am putting it in drive tomorrow at 2 p.m. on Thursday. If you want to join me, come on. We'll have a great time. And
Will
if
there
it
be
crashes and burn,
cocktails?
we'll crash and burn. But no, I think the other interesting thing to think about is obviously it's been 8 years since he won. He really hasn't been like in contention here.
Yeah.
And maybe you could argue in 7, like since 2016, which I guess that didn't really happen. So it's been 8 years since he's been in contention.
It's
But
accurate.
I mean, I guess 2017 he was, in one of the later pairings on Sunday and then just didn't have a great day. But it's been a while since he's really like been there Saturday, Sunday at the Augusta. And I think that changes because one of the things we talked about coming into the year that was not a good spot last year was Thursday play. He's been awesome on Thursdays this year. I don't have his
That's a
scoring
good point.
average, but
It's been pretty, yeah.
really
That's a
good at
really
Century
point.
or good at Century, really good at Sony. I had to share the first round lead, and then obviously Friday was terrible. Which is interesting for him because usually at particularly in 2015 when he was winning everything, Friday was the day that he kind of established himself. Thursday at well, I guess Pebble wasn't good. Scottsdale wasn't that good. But,
Phoenix was actually decent. I think he shot like 70 or 69, which wasn't a bad score that day.
Yeah,
It wasn't
so
great, but it was
it
not bad.
was a decent day. He hung in there. And then Friday was fantastic, obviously. I mean, I could just go through them, but like the players was a really good sign to me because obviously the players is, we make fun of it all the time, but
API was good too. Just throwing
like
it in there.
a good Thursday at a couple big events this year, I think gives him confidence that he can go in and do it tomorrow. And he knows what's up. The only thing I would be, and he would know this and Michael knows this, but like the worst thing to do would be to see somebody post 66 tomorrow on Thursday and then go try and chase that, in my opinion. Because obviously you want to get there, but I think he's got 36 holes to set the marker, and I think that's how he should be thinking about it. More so than trying to play at 18 at a time, particularly in the PM AM wave.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I was just looking, he's 29th in first round scoring average this year. And it's funny that you mentioned first round scoring average because if we go back to the fall when I made my season goals, I mean, I can't find the post right now, but I know one of them was to be in it at the majors after Thursday. Literally every single first round at a major last year was awful. So we can just shoot something sub 70 tomorrow. He's already doing better this year than what he did all of last year. But yeah, I mean, you make a great point. There's no really reason to chase. I mean, someone posts 66. I think he's mature enough at this point to understand that, okay, someone shoots 66, I shoot 70, go out Friday morning, I'm still in a great spot. I think anything sub 70 tomorrow is going to be fine just because, he's playing in the afternoon last group. The greens are going to be a little bit crunchier. It's going to be firmer. Anything sub 70 will be fine. And, I think he's very much aware of that. And that's just something that's came with experience over time.
Real quick, what do you guys, before you go, Bob, what do you guys think's a good score going into Saturday? It's tough to know now.
I honestly have no idea because I really have no clue what the course is going to play like tomorrow. I don't know whether they're going to have it firm. I don't know whether they're going to. And I agree with you, Dan. I think it's going to be a little less firm than we think it might be. But
I said I'd feel really, really good with 8 under going.
I think 8 under is no
I'd
more
say
than
7.
one. I think 8 under is no more than 1 or 2 back.
Yeah,
if not leading.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. I think it could be very much like top for sure. I mean, obviously, for sure on that first page of the leaderboard.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very much inside the top half of that first page.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on Spieth and Thursday real quick before I get to something I saw in the chat. And I know that I believe it's like 17 straight Masters winners that have shot under par in the first round.
There you go.
I think that's true.
So that's the story.
There you go.
The past how many years in a row has George shot over par in the first round? I believe it's 2 or 3.
Well, he was over par last year.
He opened with
71.
I think it was 71.
But that was lucky though, because he made triple on 9 and then he very
Got lucky
easily
on
could have.
15.
Oh yeah,
very
yeah.
easily
But the
could
year
have made
before he opened with
6 on
75
15.
and 20. Yeah, it's so yeah,
2020
like
was
3 or
bad.
4 of the last 5. But
Right.
um,
2019 wasn't great either.
but yeah, it's all about starting strong. I mean, I hate to say this because I did just say that it's win or bust, but if you handed me a 70 tomorrow, it would be hard for me to not sign.
I'd sign for 70.
I think I would.
You're
would
easily
say-
in the tournament if you shoot 70.
You
You're not
are more
bleeding,
than
but
in
you're
the
in the-
tournament if you shot 70.
Yeah.
But I just want to touch on this because I saw someone asked who's your like top rookie picks. The rookies this year are like Kitayama and Igala, I believe. I honestly think the best rookie of the week is Mr. Amateur, Mr. Sargent. I'm really high on him this week. I think he has like a
He bombs it.
I think he has like a Hovland type amateur week, maybe a top 20 finish. I was trying to fit him into my card for this week, but I just have too much on Spieth top 20 that I can't put him in there. But I really like Sargent this week, and there's definitely some. I think he's like plus 150 for a low am. I really like that pick. Like really like that pick. So, I don't think Thigala or Kurt make much noise this week. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, though.
Well, I'd love for my boy Kurt to keep going on the path towards Rome in the fall, and this would be a big step for him. I don't know how well Mr. Palmer's golf course and Kurt Kitayama, Augusta National correlate. But I think he could play well. I think Thigala could play really well. It's going to be interesting though, because I think the course is going to be so different from Friday to Saturday, and then even probably from Saturday to Sunday. Like I think Thursday through Friday, they're not going to do a whole lot, and they're going to try and burn it out for Friday, which I don't think they can do, but they're going to try and make that thing as firm and fast as possible because they know Saturday and Sunday are coming with some wet weather and some wind and some cooler temperatures. But it's another reason why I feel good about Spieth this week is he's played in all of these elements. Like he's played in firm and fast Augusta, and he's played in hot Augusta, and he's played in cold Augusta, and he's played in windy Augusta. And for the guys who are new here, they haven't seen that line. They haven't seen the line to take on 15 when it's downwind, the line to take on 15 when it's into the wind, what the layup number is downwind, into the wind, whatever it may be.
That's a great point.
And I think that eliminates, and Koepka talks about this all the time, just in majors, like more than half the dudes just can't do it. But even at Augusta, I think after you eliminate that half, there's like another 20 guys that can't do it because they just haven't seen Augusta enough. And then there's probably another like 10 guys that they have the chops to win a major, but they don't have the game to win at Augusta, and I think so then you're down to 10 guys and you Spieth's one of those guys and you feel pretty good about it. But this week especially, I just think there's going to be a big emphasis on course history and experience around here.
Yeah, that's such a good point that you make. I didn't think of it at all. I mean, Augusta is like the most predictable course in terms of, who wins here and how valuable course history is. And especially with you're going to get at a minimum 3 different Augusta Nationals over the 4 days.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think 2 for sure. You could get 4, right? It'll play different, all 4 days really, but
exactly. And I think, even Scotty, I know Scotty's the favorite. He hasn't played in everything at Augusta, and I get he's the number 1 player in the world and he's better than everyone else, but he's got Ted Scott, which also helps a lot. So maybe Scotty's an awful example, but there are a lot of guys who don't have a caddy who've, been on a winning bag before, that just have not played in every condition that they're about to see this week. And I think that does help Spieth.
It eliminates a lot of guys.
It does. And Greller is going to be ready. Still just his work ethic. Spieth talks about the team and like just seeing the photos of him out, last guy on the course Tuesday night, it just gives you chills.
It gets your blood boiling.
Greller knows. Greller knows.
I want to bring out this point. I know I just said this in the chat, and there was very different opinions, so I'd love to hear what people think. But the media is really hyping up Rory this week, which I feel like it's a bit undeserved. They're calling it the big three of Rory, Scotty, and Ham, which I believe is absolutely crazy. I do not believe Rory is anywhere near the level that Scotty and Rahm are this year. So I think it's the big two. I think that's what it is. I was also talking to JT Tracker and another one chats about this, and he was like, well, I would not be surprised if Rahm or Scotty won, but I would be surprised if Rory won.
Interesting.
Which is exactly where I'm coming from, basically. I mean, Rory has great history at Augusta, besides, of course, the green jacket. There's no doubt about that. But how many times have Scotty and Rahm won this year combined?
5.
And there's been 12 tournaments, maybe.
Yeah.
They've won half the tournaments.
It's nuts, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think
Rory hasn't won this year.
No, he won a bunch at the end of last year.
Yeah, but
he hasn't won a PGA Tour event since the CJ Cup in October.
Right.
So
yeah. So
your point is very valid, Bob.
Yeah, they're being he's being hyped up. Like the fact that Rahm and Scotty, the fact that Rory and Scotty are 7-1 and Rahm's like 17-2 or whatever it is, like plus 950.
Yeah.
Like,
it's interesting. Well, yeah, the Rahm number, I think, right? He's only 2 full events removed from being the best player in the world by a considerable margin. And then Scheffler just very quickly regained that notion. I will say Rahm, after the first round lead at the API, struggled quite a bit in some of the conditions. And then the illness at the Players is what it is. He played pretty well in that opening round, actually, despite it. And then, but he got worked by Billy Horschel at match play. And I know match play doesn't mean a whole lot, but I think that's kind of why that number's gone down. And to your point on Rory, I kind of agree that it's more of a big two. And there's always just going to be the little Rory bump because it's Augusta, and this is what he needs to get it done. But I'd say Rory is closer to those guys at the top than he is to the rest of the pack, though. And I think that's why he kind of gets lumped into that top.
Yeah, I disagree there.
Who's number 4? Who's number 4
this week?
Just in golf right now. And I think, go ahead.
In recent history, recent,
the past 3 months, who's been the 4th best guy, or more than 3 months? The past,
I think if you're thinking about this so hard, then Rory isn't.
It has to be Homa, right?
Maybe.
Recent,
maybe Homa.
But again, Homa's won.
He's won twice.
I want to
Rory hasn't won yet.
I want to chime in though. The thing about Rory though, and I agree, I'm not a Rory fan, Bob. You know that. The thing about Rory though, and I've actually looked this up. I was on his data golf page. He does need the Grand Slam, and there's a specific Rory tracker on Twitter I can't stand. But Rory actually, the thing about Rory this week, Rory does actually come to Augusta with more form than he has in a long time.
Correct, but I still feel like Rory and Spieth have basically the same chance.
I don't know if I disagree with that, but again, Rory's been more consistent than Spieth has been.
But Rory being 7-1 and Spieth being 18-1 is absolutely ridiculous.
True, I don't disagree, but Rory is also 3rd in the world, and Spieth is 16th for a reason. One's just more consistent than the other.
That's fair. Well,
maybe Elyse can share her thoughts on the whole.
Yes.
Rory.
What a pleasant surprise. Welcome, Elyse.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Thanks
I
for
hope
being
your
on.
baby went to sleep soundly and won't bother you because it's Masters week. You need your sleep. Of course, you'll be up for the starters, unlike some people we know. But
That's true.
We were just talking about how it's kind of ridiculous that Spieth is 17 or 18 to 1. And
Well, you
Rory's
said it was
7 to 1.
ridiculous.
That's
You
what I was
said it was
saying.
ridiculous.
Because I think that Spieth and Rory have basically the same chance this week. So I'd love to hear your take on that.
I mean, I think the odds are the way that they are for a reason, with Scotty, John Rahm, and Rory being the clear favorites. They've been the hottest golfers going in. I think the course will play to Rory's hands. Like Spieth in his interview said that he likes it warm and fast.
I did
fast.
forget about the pouring rain all week.
And it's Rory likes soft. We know that. You know, his major wins, you know, for example, at like Congressional, he like ran away with it. It was like relatively soft there.
Yeah.
So I think that plus the way he's been playing, just I mean, I know he had a kind of slowish start, but like at match play he was really good. It was just insane.
Bob, where would you, if you were doing the odds for Scotty, Ham, Spieth, and Rory, what would you make them?
Okay, let me just say this. First of all, I think it's ridiculous that the books have 3 in triple digits. Just wanted to put that out there. So I think that those odds are wrong in the first place, but I think it would be.
Tiger was 125 at minus 125 in 2007. Have you seen that graphic?
But that's because
crazy.
they had to make that they had to make Tiger unbettable at those events, right? Like they get killed. They've done pretty well to make those 3 unbettable, but all 3 of them, I feel like if all 3 of them need to be unbettable, then they shouldn't need to make them unbettable at all because they'll find a way to still make money. But regardless, I feel like it should be. I feel like Scotty around 7 to 1 makes sense. I feel like Rahm around 9 to 1, and Rory should be more like 12-ish.
That's fair.
I'm not saying odds are like, I'm not saying the sports books odds are always going to be what the actual chances are in real life, right? Like Tiger Woods is 50 to 1. Those odds make sense considering how much they'd lose if he won, right? Like you can't make Tiger 150 to 1, even though that's probably what he is, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But so I understand Rory still needs to be 12, 11, and Spieth needs to be 17, 18. But I still think that I don't think Scotty and Rory should have the same odds. Well, Ron J. Ham is 9.5 to 1.
That's fair.
I think part of that, and to your point, it's like the book's just not trying to get burned. If Rory was at 12 to 1, he would be getting hammered right now.
And if Rory won, the books would lose a lot of money.
Right.
He wouldn't be staying at 12 to 1.
Right. And yes, to that point. The thing with Rahm too is part of, I guess while we're talking about odds a little bit, part of like Masters betting is you get a lot more casual bettors. So people are going to look at the last 3 weeks and be like, Rahm wasn't like,
that's
he
true.
won a bunch, but maybe he cooled off. So that's probably why they feel more comfortable putting him at about 9.5, 8, 9.
So I talk to Elyse all the time about how golf betting is so free for the sports books. And I was talking to Elyse about how it's it is a lot easier to win at golf like she does if you put enough time into it, because the books can get a little lazy. Besides the top of the board, if they get burned on like a bad line on a matchup, like that's not going to kill them. They make all of their money on Tiger Woods Masters tickets. They break even purely on Tiger Woods Masters tickets every
They actually are. They're the books are good on matchups usually.
But what I'm saying is like,
right.
First of all,
other markets
not a lot.
There, you
not
can
a lot
find
of
hidden gems.
Yeah, the people that are betting the NFL regular season, it's not the same amount of people that are betting the Valspar. That's first off.
Oh yeah.
And outright betting is like it's easy for the books to win there, unless you make someone like Rory a lot more bettable than he should be. So I understand why he's that low, and I understand why you kind of have to make Rory, Rahm, and Scotty unbettable. But I still stand by the fact that I think Spieth and Rory have a very similar chance to win this week. regardless of if the odds show it. I hate to be that guy, but I still think there is a lot of value on Spieth at 18-1.
Yeah.
I think that he is the clear fourth favorite to win this event. I don't want to sound biased. And listen, I try to be as unbiased as I can in normal episodes. It's very hard for me to keep my bias out in the Masters episode. But I do believe that regardless of Spieth's history recently, this course is his course. Besides the miscut last year where everything went wrong, I think that's going to help him this year. He is not going to let that happen again, first of all. And he doesn't want to feel that again. So he's been working very hard leading up to it. So I do still think there's a lot.
Also just a way better golfer.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
He is a way better golfer.
Before we go into bets, which will lead into some other storylines, I know somebody asked about Tiger. We'll talk about Tiger in the bets, I think. First time Spieth has ever had a week off before the Masters. Hurt? How do we feel? I know Bob's not a big fan of the Oaks course before Augusta, but
yeah, I don't think it's ideal. I definitely don't think it's ideal given that he hasn't played a competitive real stroke play event with a field like this in over a month. And he hasn't played a stroke play event period in 2-3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah. So it's not ideal, but it's better than playing the Oaks course. And listen, I know Jordan doesn't like the Oaks course at all.
I have a condition on it though.
I don't think it's a awful golf course, but it is the worst possible golf course to prep for Augusta for. It's soft, it's
slow,
it's not firm, and it's in the middle of Texas.
PPC.
Wow. Yeah, and he also, won it, and he arguably peaked to.
Yeah, he got his win.
21.
I will not apologize for the Valero win. Don't get me wrong. That win has a very special place in my heart. But
yeah, I think this year, like last year, I was, I guess it's easy to say it after the fact. I think in a year where you're not really playing good, go play it. I think in a year like this where we clearly know, what the minor flaws are, why go play when you can go home with Cam and work on it for a week. I think last year it's different because he was putting awfully just on and on every single week. Go out to a new event, maybe you find something in an event because you're not going to find something just putting it home on the greens there.
Right.
Whereas this year, just a couple minor tweaks at home. But it's going to be interesting. I think if he wins on Sunday, could it be a thing where, okay, maybe we just go back to always taking the Sunday before or the week before the Masters off? It'll be interesting. But regarding your thoughts,
honestly, if he wins on Sunday, I don't care what he does next year.
Yeah, that's fair.
We'll worry about that when we get there.
Sure, I think you'd have to take it off, though.
Past
this win, you can't.
We'll see what the schedule looks like in the next couple of years because it's obviously going to be different with designated events, elevated events, the certain events he has to be at. So I thought it'd be interesting. I think this, to your point though, Jordan, this is the year where obviously just in terms of scheduling, it makes sense that he takes it off, but also just where his game is at makes sense. I think a good week to really fine tune some things because the game is pretty good in a lot of areas, but it hasn't been aside from the iron play, it hasn't really been that consistently great.
Great.
And week in, week out. So good week to peak though. I think the peak has not been hit yet. And I think it's coming soon. And it'd be a great week to kind of reach that top now, I'd say.
Yeah. He's been consistently good. He hasn't been really great since the 2021 Open, I think, is the last time he's been great.
I'd agree with that.
I think before we get into bets, we haven't touched on the couple course changes.
Yeah, for sure.
7 green and 13. 13's the big one. But
so what happened to 7 green?
So 7 green, the main thing is the front right funnel pin. Apparently, it will not funnel as close as it has in years past.
That's devastating.
It'll leave an 8 to 9 footer down the hill very quick instead of coming all the way back.
That's a
okay.
I kind of like that.
That's kind of a chills funnel, but all right.
Yeah, the funnel is fun.
Now you get a
But
brutal
I don't mind
putt
tough eight. I don't mind tough 8-footers at a national though.
I will say it's good for Spieth because whereas it would funnel the 2 feet and Spieth could still miss, it's now a tester for everyone in the field.
Yes.
So
Precisely.
it's probably helpful to Spieth. But in terms of 13, I won't lie, I don't love it.
there.
And the reason why is that the pine straw will not really be in play.
You don't
I
think?
don't know about that.
I really don't think it will.
I think it might be in more play, to be honest.
I don't
Oh,
think it
no
will
play.
because it's so many people would end up in the pine straw. I mean, you look at how many yards they added with the uphill nature and the fact that that usually plays into the wind. I don't see a lot of guys getting into the pine straw.
That's fair. This year they won't. Yeah,
This year is
Yeah.
gonna be tough with it being
This
softer.
year, yeah.
I'd agree.
I
That's
just
fair.
that sort of disappoints me because that pine straw is the best part of the hole.
It's fun.
That was what protected the hole before, so you couldn't just bomb a drive out there. Like you had to put some shape on it, and now they have distance protecting the hole. You know, I'm just not a huge fan of that. I think
Yeah.
that the hole was great before. I think it was great for an eagle chance down the stretch. There's really no eagle chances
Yeah, there's
now on the
no
back nine
eagles.
coming down, which kind of stinks.
Or even
I-
on Sunday in general, like the only eagle chance is 2. Because 8 is not reachable if it's soft.
16 if you get a hole in one.
Yeah, 16. I guess,
Honestly,
or
16 might be
Maybe
the
it's time to get
easiest.
revenge on 12, right? But like
Yeah.
it's yeah, to your point, the easiest eagle, oh maybe not the easiest, but like 16's got that funnel pin, and that would be the likely chance to make a birdie that would swing the tournament. I do think 13 and 15 though, like having to hit like a 70-yard wedge or maybe a little less, maybe a little more to make a birdie might make Sunday a little bit more fun. But I think it does put a little bit more importance on, not that guys come back all the time, but a little bit more importance on being like in control or being in that top like 2 or 3 come that back nine, because you're not going to be able to make as big of a move if you get hot, because there just won't be those eagle chances.
Yeah.
This is already.
Go ahead,
sorry.
Elyse.
I said this was already kind of a front runner's course. I mean, statistically, you need to be after the first round, like in the top 10, to have a chance on Sunday, and that's if that hurts, if the change to 13 hurts that's not great because it was already it was already not a good course for chasers. Although of course, obviously, Spieth in 2018 had that awesome round, but he still couldn't catch like Reed, even with a 64.
We got so lucky
on Sunday.
And let me say this, I don't think that the scoring will change that much. I don't think it will make the hole necessarily that much harder. That's a really easy pitch shot in my opinion.
It depends to the pin.
Depends.
I really don't think the scoring is going to be that much higher. I still think it will be
All right.
mostly 4s. There will be less 3s, but I do think there will be less big numbers.
Yes.
The only way that there are not less big numbers, I'm very interested to see how the pine straw and plants on the left come into play.
You can overcook a draw and
Yeah,
be a bridal
overcooking a
play.
draw, and honestly, even just if you're trying to hit a cut, like bailing out and not cutting it enough and double crossing and ending up left, I mean, that could bring in a lot more play because it's a lot harder to hit that shot from 20, 30 yards back than used to have. So, I mean, I do think that I don't love the change, but I don't think it will change too much scoring wise, but it will definitely change how the tournament comes down the stretch.
Yeah. I love the new 13, so I'll play devil's advocate here. I love it. Number one, I do think the pine straw is still very much in play, at least for the longer hitters. Like I think John Rahm will still easily be able to reach there if he hits driver. It's a shame, and this is what sucks. It's a shame it's not going to be as firm as it could be this week, because I think you'd really get a good sense of where that hole is, and I think the mid-tier in terms of length guys would still be able to go for it. They'll probably be laying up this year. I was actually listening to Adam Scott. He talked to the media on Monday, And he mentioned he agrees with you, Bob, that there will be less doubles, but he also thinks there'll be the same amount of eagles. He still went for it on Monday and 2. I think I'd be shocked if Spieth's in that fairway as long as he doesn't have over 220, 230. I think he'll be going
Yeah.
for it in 2.
It
And here's my thing. And you mentioned you don't think that the scoring is going to change a lot. I do agree that wedge shot is easy, but at the same time, a good shot with that wedge is to like 8 feet. And the odds that you make an 8-footer are still like, what, 50-50 at best?
50-50.
And usually you're used to guys hitting that green and just 2-putting for a birdie. They're going to have to make an 8-footer to make birdie. I think that, if 50% make it, I think it'll definitely still play under par, but I think it's going to
yeah, but I still think there will be a lot less big numbers.
That Adam Scott agrees with you. I probably don't disagree with
But that being said, my opinion could very easily change if the tee shot becomes as fun as I think it could be.
Yeah.
Because if down the stretch, if the difference between, and I don't know if this is how the hole is going to play, but if it does, it's brilliant. And all of a sudden I love the hole. But if the difference between on Sunday going for the green, not going for the green is having to hug the left side of the fairway, that makes it an amazing hole.
It could be this year.
Because that means that players are going to be going in the drink on the left, which you don't see very often on Sunday.
Well,
because a lot of people just bail out.
In general, really.
Yeah, in general.
Unless you get a JT thinking he's cool and hitting
Didn't
that snap hook around the
Bryson hit
tree.
it in the drink one time on 13 en route when he was like,
Bryson's been everywhere on the
Right, yeah. Bryson has seen. People say Spieth's seen a lot of golf courses. Bryson has seen a lot of the bushes at A National.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, and Bryson was talking. I watched his interview today. Like the disparity is pretty interesting. Like he played the back 9 twice this week, and one time he had 9-iron, and the other time he had 4-iron into that green.
That's sick. Bryson hitting 4-iron into 13 is dope.
So
it'll be a layup that day for everyone.
Yeah,
which would suck, but I think a lot of guys will still be able to go for it. I was gonna say, kind of use a rebuttal against you. Like if the pine straw is really in play and we see it tomorrow and guys are still reaching it, you probably love the hole now. Because you hit in the pine straw, I mean, it's usually, if you're further back, it's going to be a layup regardless. I know Phil's shot obviously could get a board, but I just think it's going to be really cool. I think what the late Arnold Palmer used to say is you had to play boldly to win. And the guys in the final group on Sunday, if they can go for it, they're going to go for it.
Yeah.
You cannot lay up deep in contention on a Sunday, because when you lay up, the odds are, unless you're just the best wedge player in the world, you're probably making a 5 up. Like if you had a good wedge shot to 8 feet, it's a 50-50 chance at best to make it probably.
Yeah, but I think you're underestimating on Sunday specifically
the pin,
how much closer those wedge shots will be.
That's
because if you're coming from a certain angle, it's basically a funnel.
That's true. So that
you got that massive backstop. It'll be soft as well,
and not only the backstop, it funnels to the pin.
They could change the pin. I mean, who knows?
I don't think they will.
Maybe.
I don't think they will. That's pretty.
That'd be sick though.
Didn't they change the pin on 16? I think for the Fall Masters.
They did.
Yeah.
But that was, to be fair, that was a historic location. Like historically, that was always the Sunday pin. 20 years ago. Like that's where Nicholas made that long putt. Like that's where the Sunday pin usually was. Like back in like the 80s, 90s.
Or yeah.
So
I don't know if it's always been like, has 13 always been there?
I don't know. I don't know at all.
I mean, if the tournament committee's smart, they put it somewhere where if you lay up, you're probably making 5 or Sunday.
Funny. Spieth mentioned how some pins are always the same, but I can't remember what numbers he gave out. It was weird. He just knows that stuff. Like,
yeah, but Jordan, you also think about that is like, if they're putting the pin in that funnel spot, that makes it a lot more enticing to go for it too. Because if you put it back left with a front, if you put it back left on Sunday, right? All of a sudden, you going for it doesn't really give you much. Like there's more risk than reward.
High key, I want to see it back left on Saturday.
I would agree.
That's not the easiest wedge shot because Saturday it's going to be so cold, people aren't going to be going for it. But if you miss short, you're coming back down the hill. You miss long, that's not the easiasiest up and down.
It won't be as cold when speed.
I want to see pins
45.
I want to see pins that do not encourage layups.
I would agree.
Make that wedge shot.
That's what you have to do if you're gonna do when you make this hole. But Do we want to
Well,
get into our
one more quick thought on 13. We've kind of danced around this idea, but if you go for it and hit a good shot, you are going to get you're going to get rewarded proportionally greater for doing so.
True.
I
I
would
think
agree.
that is a at least on paper, and that it means it should be a good change. Like if you get on in 2, like it's harder to do that this year than it is last year, and you give yourself a much better chance of making a 4. So there's gonna be more 5s on 13 this year, and that which means I think puts a greater emphasis on making 4 or even 3. So should be I think it'll work out pretty well for them.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yep.
But I think we can get into our
Bets.
outright picks.
Yes. Yes.
Do we want to just get it out of the way and announce that we all have Spieth outright? Is that true? I think it
We
is.
do.
Yes, that would.
Yeah.
Be the
So
case.
I have 20 to win.
I have 21.
Or I have 20 to win 400.
That's
So
petty.
19, 18 to 1, whatever that was.
Yeah, I think it was
But,
19. I just copied what you
yeah, that's
had.
fine.
21 to win 420.
Yeah. So I
Patty like that.
have 20 to win 400. So if
I have 25.
Oh, Jordan.
so,
One up
Spieth
in us
winning
all.
is
I have,
bad.
yeah.
Oh no, it's good.
I
No,
mean,
don't worry. I won't
yeah,
complain. I won't
exactly.
complain.
Yeah, I was
Um,
about to say.
Elise,
but-
you have Spieth on your card too, no? Or
yes. Elise got a fantastic number.
yes.
Well,
from a
this,
while
I
ago.
mean, I have 24 to 1 because I bet it in
Which I do as
April of last year.
Mm.
Yes. Thank you for that shout, Elise. I also have a 24 to 1 ticket thanks to that. So
Some of these, some of mine I've been sitting on for
Yeah.
months.
yeah.
You guys, Bob, Jordan, do you guys have other outrights? Because I know Elise has a few more.
I
but-
do.
I have one. Yeah.
Okay. I have
Go
one
first,
more
Bob.
as well.
Someone I believe it's Brian on Twitter called this week a chef's assurance week.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately. So it is a chef's
Nice.
chef's assurance
Good
week
English.
for me as well. I have 35 to win 320. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want that to hit, but if it does,
What's
it's to hedge my happiness.
mm-hmm.
And saying like this, I know Elise always talks about it. My reasoning behind it is like when we're betting for the podcast, like when I bet with Elise and stuff, like there's a way to profit long term by spreading out the units. And when like Elise would never bet a 7.5 to 1. But for betting like this, it's almost like single bulleting.
Very different. Yeah.
So I do believe that if there's one guy right now that I had to say was winning the Masters tomorrow, completely unbiasedly, it's Spieth. But second, it's Scheffler. So
Nice.
I think
It's more like putting out for one and done.
yeah,
Right.
It makes sense to put money on him just because of the fact that even though he's kind of unbettable, 7 to 1 is basically what he should be. I feel like he wins this tournament every 1 out of 7 times. So
agreed.
I when Rahm was 5 to 1 at whatever it was early in the year, I didn't think that was realistic. I think he won, but I didn't think that John Rahm is 5 to 1, but
Mhm.
Scotty Scheffler is 7 to 1 this week,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Quick
Sure.
tidbit on Scheffler too. He's actually playing better now than he was last year for the
Which is
first part of the
ridiculous.
year, which is insane.
Scary. It's scary.
Scary.
So, in
But it's
theory,
got to end sometime.
here's my thought on Scheffler.
And he's not even putting that well. That's the other thing.
Right. Here's my thought on Scheffler, and I don't have a bunch of data to back it up, which kind of sucks. And he's so lucky that he got the PM AM wave because the
You
winners
expected
actually
that.
go off at like 10:30 in the morning on Thursday, and he's not, and the PM AM wave is the better wave. Has Scheffler won a tournament in really soft, cold conditions?
Crickets. Because I think the answer is no.
Because he won
No,
in
but-
Phoenix, he won at Austin, he won in Florida, he won in Augusta, he won
To be fair, I don't believe his track record is that bad though. Like he played very well at Brookline.
it's not bad.
Um,
Well, yeah, and Brookline's different because Brookline was firm. I'm talking about like
Yeah.
soft. I'm talking I'm
Just
talking a bad
sloppy,
ranch week,
sloppy.
you know? I'm talking
Ranchy.
I'm trying to figure out where Spieth won that soft.
Greg Ranch.
No, he hasn't won there. But a course like that.
Well,
like
yeah, he's
this-
won the
the
Nats.
Oh, I mean,
Scheffler-
Century.
I think Scheffler has his
Years ago.
spot where it's like 15 under when he just beats everybody, but that's because the course plays hard and it's gonna play hard this week. But I don't know, like we'll see. I'm not sure if Scheffler, he might just not like I think Saturday might not be a good round for Scotty Scheffler. And I think that because it'll be
Okay.
cold, wet, windy.
Just have to hope he's not minus 15 when he tees off on.
Well,
Saturday.
that's
Mhm.
the
That'd be a
excellent-
problem.
that would
Yeah.
be a problem.
How do you do with the players in 20 like last year because the weather was so bad?
He T55.
Was he in the bad wave though? I think he was.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah. So Montana on the chat just said that he's the luckiest guy on tour, and that's why I bet on him. That's correct.
Yeah.
But,
That's smart of Bob, though. You take
but,
advantage when you know.
I mean, yeah, I took advantage because I know that there's a very decent shot he wins this week, and I know that you guys probably wouldn't have anything on him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well-
which I commend you for.
No, I my second outright is not Scotty, but so you said you wouldn't bet John Rahm at 5-1, but how about 9.5 to 1?
I don't love it still.
All right, well I do.
I know that
That's all
Elyse,
matters.
I know that Elyse and I have a 10 to 1, which we were definitely a lot more hopeful for a few months ago. When we were thinking he's gonna be like 6 or 7 to 1. But
Yep.
I personally think that Bay Hill killed Rahm.
All right.
And if
So
Bale didn't kill Rom, Sobel did.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
Yes.
That's a
They're
good
going against
point.
Solo this
that's
week.
fair. But yeah, I think people are forgetting about the big Spaniard. It's funny too, because like you look at his approach distribution and like it's perfect for Augusta. That's what I love. Big ballpark. He's been great, 150 plus yards. You know his short game is really good and he putts really well. Course history is great. And it's funny that you mentioned that Rory's mispriced. I think Rahm has just as good or better chance than Rory. And
Oh, I would agree with that. I would agree.
So and then with Scheffler, no one's went back to back at Augusta since Mr. Woods. I don't know. It's funny too, because like again, you can't predict this, and Dan didn't have data, and I don't have data to say this too. I just have a feeling Scotty's going to get a couple bad breaks this year. The golf gods tend to.
We've been
even them
saying
out.
that for so.
We have, but I mean, the chip in at a 3 last year on Sunday for Scotty went his way. So much has went his way. It just feels like he is going to not win this week. In my mind,
which I'd be
It's
fine
just-
with.
It is
with that
so
being in
tough
mind.
to go back to back at Augusta. No one's came close besides Spieth in like the last 15 years.
We won't talk about that, but
Yes, but I mean, you got to throw that in there. Like, it just no one comes close. I think for someone to reverse the trend, I know Scotty's really good, but all the history goes against it.
Greg says that with his luck, he will kick off the bridge on 12 and onto the green.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Ray's Creek would elevate a rock
Oh
at
man,
some point and it would bounce off.
Maybe there would be someone driving in a boat that he'd hit,
Yep,
like the
precisely.
Smash Woman's
Yeah,
amateur.
it would hit Spieth, one of Spieth's balls that he hit there in 16 and bounce up.
Yeah, that would not surprise
Painful. I know.
me. But I don't hate the pick. I don't know. I don't. I think Rom might be his reign might be done for a while.
Yeah. Before we get to the rest of Elise's outrights, I have one more outright as well. Jordan and I actually talked about Rahm quite a bit a while ago. And I said, if it's 9.5, I might go for it, but no, give me another big man. But this time he's from Ireland. Give me Shane Lowry. And
Big
I
boy.
know.
Being a
Shane
big
Lowry. But I don't know. There's just something about him. He's a major champ. He's won an Open, and the weather was really something that I factored in a little bit.
Okay.
You might see a little bit later in my plays. Obviously, I have some wave splits, but also I like guys that can play in the cold. And that seems like, I know Lowry obviously has success at the Honda, which is in Florida. But I think Lowry could battle Saturday and Sunday, and he could find himself in the mix pretty easily. So I appreciate the horrible pick, but 65-1 on a major champ who's had some good history here. Like I wouldn't count him out. He also chipped and putted really well here last year. And obviously it's going to play different, but I don't know. I just felt like I'd give him a shot. I don't have like a great outright card because I think there's a pretty decent chance one of the top 3 wins, and they're just not bettable really in my mind. I don't want to give it to them at those odds. So Lowry at 65 is my other outright.
I like that.
But what say you? Elyse?
You mentioned in the mentioned the weather too. Like it's gonna be nasty, and it was nasty at Port Rush.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah.
at Rush.
So I like
That's
that.
yeah, but I mean, I don't think Lowry's playing as well.
No,
as
he's not.
we were.
That's
Lowry
the
is a
concern.
big man. So
Yes.
the win certainly won't
Thanks,
be
Bob.
affecting him. Um,
What does that suggest about Will Zalatoris?
It may
Um,
affect it.
Zalatoris lost 7 pounds. That could be the difference, you know?
That's not.
That's crazy.
That's unreal. Speaking of, I mean, I don't think we're gonna speak of Zalatoris today because I just don't think he's gonna have it this week.
I will say about Zalatoris that I know Elyse and I have been on Zalatoris train for majors for so long, like literally since I started talking with her about bets, and it's going to hurt if he wins this week.
Yeah,
Because I have not even looked at him because of everything going on. So I'm praying that we get to break. I think I'll be back to betting him at the PGA. But we'll see.
that fits in better, I think, as well. But anyway,
I think he'll make
mean,
noise at the map.
He's been good here too.
Yeah. I just think it's a little too soon. I think he'll win a Masters. I think if he wins anything, I think he wins a Masters.
wow, I don't know about that. I mean, he finished solo too, but was he really there against Hideki? No.
That was also his first time playing, which was
I
ridiculous.
know, and then he
Yeah, that was
backdoored it.
ridiculous,
He's kind of rammed his way to course history with the back doors here.
He's just putted well at Augusta too. Like he doesn't putt well anywhere else. I guess the thing with Augusta though is it doesn't favor guys that usually do putt well.
Correct.
I don't know. I view him as a ball striker, and ball strikers are more. I mean, they are Augusta, but you think PGA.
Yeah, but regardless,
He easily can win.
He'll-
it.
He'll
he'll-
think U.S. Open actually. I mean,
he'll get a
more so.
major.
PGA is more to me is more random. I tend to think ball strikers U.S. Open.
yeah,
He'll get a major.
we can move on to
agree on
Elise's.
That's why.
The
Yeah, that's what the
important
people are
person.
here.
Open, and then opens also help bad putters because the greens are slower there
Yes.
Jay
usually.
Spieth, yes.
Yes.
Please, Jay Spieth.
Yeah.
Calendar slam.
And Augusta, you can just I mean, Hideki is not a good putter, and Hideki won.
Yep.
Um,
Good
and
point.
DJ's not necessarily the best putter either. DJ's won.
Yeah,
Rory, not the best
Uh,
putter, has not won.
TJ.
Had to put that out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Points for you, RF. On to you, Elise.
Okay, so I mean, we don't need to talk about Rom and Spieth more. I think I have them. Then I have DJ at 33-1. If there's anybody who's not going to get bothered by the live crap, it's Dustin Johnson.
Also a
Like-
ridiculous number, I feel like.
Yeah, and he's I mean, he won here in soft conditions, the 2020 Masters was, very soft. That's why the score was so low. So he likes that. He obviously likes Augusta that way. So and he's been playing like decently. Last year his team won, and DJ was a large part of that.
Or aces.
Yep. Then I have
Legendary phrase.
Day at 35-1. Day's been playing really, really well. Like he's
He's been awesome.
yeah. He had
That number is still out there, right?
35-1. No, I don't think so.
What's he now?
He's like
Like
28.
28. Yeah.
ish.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
I'd still bet him at that number.
real quick on Day. his data golf is fun to look at. It's like he's gained like 3 strokes in a bunch in like 6 or 7 events. It's crazy. He's playing so well at the moment.
Yeah, he is. I mean, the wind is coming somewhere soon. I don't know if it's Augusta, but
It could
it's
be,
coming.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say this next one. This is Cameron Young
Oh,
at 45-1. I hate Cameron Young, to be honest.
Elyse has a Cameron Young disease.
I've bet him every
Cameron
tournament pretty much since I don't know, going back to
Genesis.
Yeah, last year. And I honestly was like, I wanted him to go to live so I can stop betting this guy. Last week he was so like 2 weeks ago he was so belled. He got all the way to the finals, and guess what? He lost.
and he got dusted. Yeah.
That was awful. I was so depressed.
One day I will hit a Cam Young outright.
We hope. Please, Cam Young. Please, Cam Young.
I don't think it will be this week, but I can't go without betting him. Yeah, because then the time that I don't bet him is the time he wins.
Yeah,
that's almost happened before, so I've had to bet him live.
Yeah, he's got Webb Simpson's old caddy on the bag. And sometimes like caddies, like obviously Ted Scott for Scotty can make a difference. So I'm sure Tesori can call on Webb Simpson's T5 here a few years ago to help Cam Young get into that classic Cam Young like T3 come the end of Sunday.
Yeah, so, I personally think he'll win, like, I don't know, PGA is much better fit for him.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing about him is I think once he wins, he's gonna win like 2 or 3, like quickly. But I don't know, like it's just when is he gonna get over the finish line? I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, his putter's largely been the reason.
Yeah.
But he just, yeah. It's frustrating betting Cameron Young. And then my final outright is Tony Finau at 55-1.
Big tone.
Jeff McGee on Twitter, put this out like a long time ago. And I saw it and I was like, that's really high for Tony Finau for the Masters, especially because Tony's been good at the Masters. So I jumped on that right away. So
he's like what, 20?
He's in the 20s now.
Yeah.
I mean, and just for comparison, like Tiger's like 55-1. So that
Tiger will not win this week. Finau could win this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Elyse, would you still bet Finau at his current number?
What's his current number?
Like 26, I think, right?
Ish.
Yeah, I mean, so my worry with Tony Finau is that in the last 4 starts, he's lost strokes around the green, and typically you need to be like coming in hot around the green, like 0.6 strokes gained around the green, and in your last, like, I forget how many rounds it is, but I mean, yeah, his last 4 tournaments, minus 0.83, minus 1.43, minus 0.22, minus 2.07 at Dell Technologies. So that's going to be my concern with Tony Finau.
Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't. I don't think I would bet him at his current number.
Fair.
To be honest.
All right.
He also, I mean, he has figured out how to win a little bit, but and you'd like to think that a major is coming. But we'll see.
Yeah,
55 is a great number.
Augusta is, I mean, he's played really well here. It's just can he actually win? I don't know about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I agree there.
We've got a question for you in the chat, Elyse. It says, forget the odds, forget like betting and stuff like that. Who do you think is actually going to win this week?
Scotty Scheffler. The more I've thought about it this week, I mean, he's just playing too well.
Yeah.
It's yeah, he's playing better than he was going in the last Masters. And last Masters, it was like, I mean, Scotty's probably going to win. And Scotty did win. So the fact that he's playing half a stroke better now, than he was back then is crazy. I mean, it like which tournament was it? Or like he's just like always sniffing around. It's always there. His floor is so high, and like and he's not even putting that well. So if he gets even like a little bit hot with the putter, like it's
Right.
the rest of the field is no chance. It's at all, which is like that's why it's scary that he's to me.
Yeah.
I don't want him to win.
I
I've had
agree.
Spieth penciled in this for a long time, especially because it's this is really cliche now, but it's the third. Things come in threes, and it's the third Easter Sunday in a
Here we
row
go.
where he could win.
The
So
prophecies are
plus
aligned.
it's it just seemed like fate. That Spieth was going to get his second, well, actually his fifth green jacket this week. So
Yes, fifth. Yes.
Yes.
yeah,
Number 5.
I just saw an interesting comment there before we move on. Mickelson or Tiger. I wonder if there's a matchup offered out there between Tiger and Mickelson. I know Tiger would be the heavy favorite, I believe, but maybe not heavy.
Well, how about we?
I mean, think about it. If Tiger makes the cut, he's probably going to finish somewhere in that. Saturday and Sunday could be really rough.
Saturday would be brutal for
Yeah.
Tiger.
So like he's probably going to finish in like that T45-ish mark.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll mix the cut.
Mickelsen's like he's like
Yeah.
even odds to make or miss the cuts. Like I think Tiger's would be like minus 160 in that.
You think Phil's ceiling is higher, which is probably fair.
Yes,
in the
yes.
better wave as well right now. He's at 12:24 p.m. Goes off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe Phil shoots like 70 on tomorrow.
That would be
the lefty fist bumps. That'd be something.
do we want to get into our placements?
Yes, because I have one Elyse like.
Personally, I only have 5 plays this week. I know I had like
I have 5
7 or
too.
8 at I know Dan and Jordan had like 10 at the Players, but
I
I
had
only
Only
have
5 this week.
my placement where the chunk of my cash is this week, unfortunately, is Speed top 20. And on Bet Online earlier this week, Spieth was minus 125 top 20. That was too good to pass up. Unfortunately, I believe he's like minus 140 there now, but I think he's even minus 150 on most of the other books. But dead heat does apply there, but we don't do dead heats for the competition. So easy hammer. I have 100 to win 180. I mean, speaks for itself. Jordan is top 10 tier basically every time he's played, or like every time except twice.
Yeah, when he's playing good, he's top
He's
10.
playing good, yeah.
Please no T21.
That'd be brutal.
Chills or not chills.
That would not be chills.
He did
Oh,
T21, yeah, in 20.
It would be heat. No, it doesn't sound.
But so yeah, that's my only placement, and then I have
Fair.
a first round leader and a made cut bet.
Gotcha. I have 5 bets too. I have 1 placement, and my placement is a top 20 bet on Cameron Young.
Ooh.
It's perfect too, because like at
Wow.
least knows the dude doesn't win, but what he does do is top 20s.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's funny, I have a matchup that I'll get into in a little bit, and the matchup's a very similar player to Cam Young. Cam Young like fits what you need to do at Augusta. Like he's got an above average short game. He stripes it with his irons. He hits it far. Do I think he will win? Obviously not. But I mean, he just does everything good enough to where a top 20 should be very much attainable. I don't know how much pause this gave you, at least, but he did miss the cut last year at Augusta,
Yeah, I saw that.
which is, I guess, a little worrying. But
he could miss the cut every year at Augusta, and Elyse and I would both be on Cameron Young.
Yeah, I do think
Every
like
Masters.
he did show us that like he isn't afraid of majors to at least play well though. Because I mean, the T3 at the PGA and then the runner up at the Open. So I think he's minus 110. Not plus money, which kind of sucks, but I put 35 of my go get that points on it. Cam Young top 20.
Congrats on that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I believe I have 6 plays. I only have 1 placement. Seeing a couple people talk about it a bit in the chat. I have been beating
Don't.
the drum
The
all
name
week.
that shall not be named.
It is Mr. Danny Willett to top 30. He was at plus 180 earlier this week, so nab that.
That's a pretty good.
He's been really good. Well, he's been really good for Danny Willett, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like he hasn't missed any cuts recently. He's been a top 40 machine. He's playing like pretty good across the board, and he putts really well at Augusta. And given the weather, given that he's English, I think that helps. And I like Danny Willett. It's a top 30. You know, you make the cut and you've got to beat Masters the top 50 in ties, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
For the made cut. So he just
Yeah.
has to beat, 20-ish
Yeah.
people on the weekend. And I think he can do that. He's been playing like 1 to 2 under par golf almost every round. Or right around field average, just a little bit better. So I kind of like Danny Willett, and I see people are talking about Morikawa in the chat, so I'll just transition to one of my other plays. I've got Colin Morikawa top 10 after the first round at plus 350, I believe.
Yeah, there's
I
great
really
play.
like Morikawa in general. I bet him quite a bit earlier in the week. In the season. He's struck the ball really well. I don't think Augusta fits him that great with the short game stuff, but it won't be as fast and firm this week, so that might minimize it a bit. My only concern is that it will be a little bit windy on the weekend, so therefore he will go down the drain because that's what he does when the wind blows a puff. And he'll finish T26 or whatever, and it'll be fine. But he'll be T8 after day one, and that'll be good enough to get me some points.
That's a great pick. Your reasoning is right on point, and there's a lot of value on those bets too. I saw somewhere that Scheffler was like plus 195 to be top 10 after the first round. I know that the first round is kind of like flukish. It's only one round, but still, I think there's definitely some value on those plays. So yeah, I'll transition into my first round leader. And that's Jason Day. And this was basically just because I only had 5 points left and I had to have a 5th pick. I got through my 4 other picks thinking that I was good with 4. And then I saw that you had to have 5. So I took 5 off Scheffler outright and put 5 on Day, first round leader, which would basically just break even. I don't really like any first round leaders here. I kind of like Justin Rose, but I mean, Day's been playing well, and I kind of felt like I had to have him on the card somehow. And he's a good starter. So,
Day's a good starter.
Day first round leader to get to win 180. So basically break even, 20 points short, but it's all right because I'll be well over even when Spieth wins top 20s as well. So, Jordan.
Yeah, so I have a matchup and a little like special play left. So I'll go with my matchup.
Special
the guy
play.
Yeah, Bob knows about the
That's
special
intriguing.
play. Obviously, it's
Why?
Yeah. But so my matchup first, it's another guy that's very similar to Cam Young. He is a loser, but all I need him to do is beat one guy. I'm backing Corey Connors to beat Matt Fitzpatrick.
Ooh,
I like that.
I like that. Yeah.
Fitzpatrick, it's funny too. I was listening to his press conference and he said a good goal to start the week would be just to make the cut. And you look at his recent, starts, and I'd probably agree. I mean, the ball striking is just not there right now. I don't know if he had an injury, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, neck injury. He has a disc.
That's what happens when you try and swing 800 miles
in
an
your
hour.
in your neck, in his neck.
Yeah.
And those can last like a long time. It's like Hideki, I don't know exactly what's wrong with Hideki's neck, but obviously it's like that's been in and off, like on and off, like for months.
Yeah. So I'm not going to apologize for taking advantage of an injury. Fitzpatrick's course history here is like iffy too. Like there's a 32, a 34, a 38, a 46. I mean, there's a top 10, but so he's
Yeah.
not playing very well. Connor's just won, and he's a pure ball striker. He plays well at
Three straight top
Augusta.
10s here. Yeah.
So that's my I have 55. Go get that points. He's minus 112, so it's to pay out just over $100. Go get that points actually. But so yeah, that's my matchup. Did you want me to get into my last play or? Sure.
Real quick, Elyse, thoughts on Xander?
Oh, Xander.
Xander.
Yeah.
I mean, Xander's like one of the only someone I did not put a outright play on. I mean, I could see Xander winning. His off the tee numbers have been bad recently. So at API, he lost 2.96, players 3.55, and Dow Technologies 3.09. So that's not great.
Yeah.
But technically this is a limited field event. It's only, what is it, 88 this year? It's 88.
Yeah, I think it might
Golf
be
course this year?
94, but I don't. It's limited.
Yeah, so it's not a full field.
Yeah.
Xander's had success here, so I could see him winning.
Yeah.
I hope not
No
though, because I
thanks.
don't have anything on at all. Yeah.
I just don't feel like he's playing well enough at the moment.
I feel like he'll make some noise.
He'll be relevant. He'll be kind of there. I don't know if he ever makes a push, and he doesn't seem to do that very often anyway. But I don't think. I don't know. But 22-1 is not a bad number on him.
Not a bad number. I just Cantley better than that at a similar number. I think Cantley's playing better than Xander.
Yeah.
Xander's off the tee numbers are weird. That's that's kind of came out of nowhere, but he's still I mean, Augusta's wide and he's a good long iron player. Augusta should fit into his hand. I mean, the course history here is good too. So yeah, I think Dan said it, I'd expect some noise, or Bob said it. Noise is a good one for Xander.
All right. Jordan, your miscellaneous play.
Yeah, so this is the first as a legal better that I've placed.
Congrats on 21.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the Jordan Spieth to top 20 and a hole in one on the 16th hole.
Yes, I also had that bet. That's a great bet.
Obviously, for the go get that points, I do not have it boosted, but in real life, I do have it boosted to plus 330. I have it for plus 220. I got 50 points on it. Again, I think we all think Jordan's going to play well. And yeah, Vernon Lundquist is going to make me some go get that points on Sunday when someone makes an ace and that hits. And hopefully Jordan's a few groups behind and, has the green jacket. But that is a crazy number, I think, plus 220. Yeah. And then they get it boosted to plus 330. I mean, there's been an ace at 16, I think 3 of the last 4 years, 4 of the last 5, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then Spieth, I mean,
it's
top 20 is minus money.
Give me a pick on who you think it is.
Oh, come on.
Just a random guess.
Oh man.
Honestly, Scotty at this point, bro dunked it today. I don't even know what to say anymore. By the way, Seamus Power making 2 hole-in-ones back to back is
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Incredible. Dude, his reaction wasn't even that good either. He wasn't even going crazy.
If I made a second one, I would chuck the club into the pond.
He was very subdued, which was very unfortunate.
Whatever, but I like that. That's good.
Thanks.
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I was just I had Vern in my head.
What'd you say?
I had some Vern quotes going through my head, so I got a little distracted. Go ahead though.
Let it be known that Ryan, our friend of the podcast, is placing no hole in one for the week. And we're all hoping that dies. So
I'd agree with that.
Oh man.
So this last one was tough. I was between 3 plays. I was between Sergeant Loam, which I really love.
Yep, I love that too.
Another one of those boosts on FanDuel, which was Tiger to make the cut and Spieth to top 20, which was plus 200. and just Tiger make cut in general. Now, I came across a pot of gold on Monday morning while I was searching the offshore worlds of Bet Online, as I sent in the chat, where Tiger was minus 120 to miss the cut. I mean, twice, yeah, minus 120 to miss the cut and plus 100 to make. So I placed that for myself immediately on Monday morning. I believe Elyse, our friend came in saying that the odds had changed about no kidding 3 minutes later. So I have a bet slit that I will be providing to show that this is a real odds that I was able to get. But I decided to be safe and just go with even odds on Woods to make the cut with my last 40. There's a lot of value to be had on Woods made cut and Spieth the top 20 at plus 200. Because I think both of those are like pretty decently minus money now. But that's what I'm going with. I think he completely collapses on the weekend. Maybe even withdraws. I don't know. Saturday is going to be brutal for him if he's off early.
Saturday is going to be tough.
Yep.
But I looked back. I bet Tiger Woods to miss the cut at every event he's played since I started this podcast. I'm done fading him. I mean, he just proves me wrong every time.
Because he's the GOAT. I know you think otherwise, but
I do think Jack is the GOAT.
greatest.
And I know everyone thinks, but he is one of the greatest of all time. And I'm done fading him. So I'm going to take advantage of all of you Tiger fans. And I'm going to be with you this week. But I will be hammering his over strokes on Saturday. So I just want to put that out there. But Woods may cut is my final play. So 35 on Shelfer to win. Spieth 20. Spieth top 20, 100. Woods may cut 40 and Day FRL 5.
Yeah, that's good. I saw that you placed Tiger to make the cut. And I thought, well, maybe I should place him to miss the cut because clearly I will fade your Tiger miscut made cut thoughts. But no, I actually
okay.
He could. I didn't do that. But if anything, he is in the early wave on Thursday and then late on Friday. And late on Friday is gonna get tough. Wind's gonna
There's
start
a chance that he has to come back Saturday morning and finish his rounds.
maybe.
Oh
And
gosh.
if that's the case, goodbye.
If Tiger Woods has to play more than 18 holes on Saturday morning, he is toast.
Right. Well,
He's
so
toast.
and that's the other thing. I think too, like there was speculation about a neck injury and all this. I mean, he's always speculation about injury. He's on the golf injury report with like 4 different things.
Is he doubtful?
And I
He'll finish the
I
event?
think he's questionable at this point.
Wow.
But I would have to
questionable.
double check.
Okay. But is the questionable about whether he would start the event or
It is
I think it's the
about-
finish.
Finish.
Finish the event.
They make it very clear.
They would like to establish that it is not any other sport. It is not the NFL. Henceforth, questionable means he may not finish the event. Anyway,
Wow.
If he
which I
makes the
think is
cut,
a-
though.
which I think is a fair tag. I could see him make the cut. I could also see him very easily miss the cut. But I'll get to my final plays. I've got a couple 3 balls. I've been doing pretty well on these recently, actually. So, both the guys I've got are at plus 170. Both of them have been talked about already. One of them's name is Jordan Spieth. We talked quite a bit about him already. He's at plus 170 to beat Big Tone and Patrick can't play in a major. Cantlay. So I kind of like those odds. I think Cantlay's in the tougher wave as well, and he doesn't play well at majors. I know he's playing really well this year, but he's played really well other years and has not played well in majors. And then Tony, like he's good, but I think Spieth just has a higher ceiling. So I am at plus 170. Like I kind of maybe overreacting a little bit to the potential wave split, but the guys finishing up on Friday are going to have more wind than the guys like they've experienced all week. And I think that that's going to make it difficult, right? Like, and the thing about when like rain comes in, everybody, you experience it, right? Wind blows and it can get gusty at times. So I'm kind of fading those guys a little bit more. So it's, to me, then it came down, well, like Spieth or Finau, and got to give the nod to Spieth there. My other matchup or 3-ball is Jason Day over Max Homa and Justin Thomas. That might be the first time we've mentioned Justin Thomas today. He
Nothing wrong with that.
apparently has a hit problem or something, per sources, and he hasn't been good. Like he hasn't hit the ball with his irons as well as he has in the past. He has putted awful. I also think he is in the bad wave. And then Day versus Homa, both in the good wave. I do worry a little bit about Day with the cold. I know he's been better but the health is just always a thing that unfortunately you have to think about with him. But Homa was awesome at the Wells Fargo when it was last year, when it was awful weather.
Oh yeah, yep.
So that made me a little bit concerned, but he just hasn't been good at Augusta. I know it's a different game, different atmosphere, but he wasn't that good at the match play either, even though he got out of his group, thankfully, for my go get that bank account or whatever. But it's kind of a fade of both of those guys, and I think Jason Day is going to play pretty well. So those are my matchups. I don't have a ton on them, but enough to get over 100 points or whatever it may be. So add them together, and we've got a profitable week.
I like that. I was debating actually, going with you too, fading Homa. I think there was a little prop on FanDuel where you took the score as like 71 or better, 72 or worse, and I was very much debating playing the 72 or worse.
Yeah.
I kind of go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think you could get off to a good start. But I just feel like there's too many mistakes in his bag. Like I don't think he knows Augusta well enough yet when he's playing well.
Yeah, I agree. I was looking at his Augusta history. He's got like 8 rounds here. He's broken the number I was looking at once. So I'm kind of like, it could come back to bite me when we're reviewing our plays on Sunday or Monday, whenever it is. And then I think I talked about this like a week or two ago about Augusta in particular. I think there's a thing to Augusta where you need a good short game, but you need a good craftable short game, not a good technical short game. I think Max is very technical with his short game, and he kind of alluded to it in his presser. He was like watching Spieth chip and like talking about like he chips a different way than I do. They both obviously get the job done, but I think Augusta requires more art and creativity, not as much technicality around the greens, which Spieth has, Scotty has, Tiger has, Phil has, Sergio has. I can go on and on between like past Masters champions.
Patrick Reed.
Patrick Reed,
exactly.
sadly.
They're just creative around the green, where I think Max is more technical. I just don't know. Like we're talking about maybe Zalatoris here. I think Homa could win a major. I don't think it's going to be at Augusta though.
Yeah, Homa.
LACC. Sorry,
Yeah.
That makes plenty
That's
of
the
sense.
spot for him. Homa short game is a little. I mean, it's not quite Morikawa, but it's kind of that same. Like it's technical, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't
agreed.
come very naturally. I think the same thing with Hovland. Although it's funny about Hovland is we haven't mentioned him at all, and I think that tells you all you need to know. But 2, he's actually gained around the greens at Augusta. It's like decent, and it's weird, and it's very un-Hovland. You'd expect it to not be very good, and it's like serviceable. But he obviously hasn't had that great of a Masters. He could be okay though in the weather. Who knows? Maybe the Norwegian just embraces the cold on Saturday and fires a 67 to vault to T4.
the guy who's only won like mostly resort courses.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a problem. For
A course like Augusta, I don't know if it's Hovland's game, but
Yeah, I'm surprised if that's true that he's gained strokes
I think
around the green.
I'll double check it, but I think that's what I saw somewhere.
He lost.
He lost 1.13 last year.
He lost a
Really?
lot last year.
Yeah.
2021, he was good though.
Oh, well then, interesting.
What was he
Somebody-
2021? Let's see.
Plus for the tournament like
Well,
1.2. So
He's
Serviceable.
Yeah,
Not
he's gained putting in the last two.
True.
That's
He's
It
putted
says
well.
0.27. It says 0.27 on Data Golf right now.
interesting. I did
Which
not
is-
see the minus 1.03. That's a bad.
No
That's a
idea.
bad error on my end. Apologies.
I don't. I don't. I really don't like hobbling at places where you need a short game, and
No.
Augusta
Yeah.
you always need a short game here.
I know we've been going on for a while, but I was just thinking, like, if it's gonna be a little bit softer, maybe does that minimize the short game? Like, because you don't the misses won't be as bad. But that-
Maybe, but the greens are still just as slopey as they will be. They
Right.
just they won't run as quick. But I mean,
But then I was
you'll
thinking,
still need to paint pictures, and I don't think he's a picture painter.
right. And then I was thinking too, while it will reward the guys who play really good short game shots more because they'll hit it closer because it's a touch softer or whatever it may be. So maybe it kind of works itself out in that sense. But yeah. Any other thoughts? I'm so excited.
No, well, I do have one. But I know that this has been going on a while, but I do have a bit of a surprise. I was sitting in my bed last night. I was thinking about how much I want George Spieth to win the Masters this year. I was like, what can I do from my perspective to help to just make the vibes where
To
they
speak
need
it into existence.
exactly. So some brilliant idea came into my head, and I was thinking back to last year's this time of year. And before the RBC, I said that if he had won, I
Oh
would
man,
give
Here we
away a
go.
putter. Wow. So I decided to bring that back. I have a brand new Bettinardi with me that I got somewhere. I've never used it. I'm not an arm lock person, but it's even if you don't use arm lock, I mean, you could sell this thing for a lot of money. It's like $450, but I am willing to put this on the line. I'm going to tweet later, score
Hope you
prediction.
lose it.
If he does not win, I will still give away a hat to the winner of the giveaway. All of my subscribers will be entered in automatically, but
That's good. Yeah.
the other way you can is by guessing his correct score tomorrow. Here it is, brand new. It's a very nice piece of equipment.
Well,
So
God, it's so beautiful.
if he wins, I'd be lying if I didn't say it would be a large, it would be a hit to my bank account. But that being said, the win would be a nice addition to my bank account as well. So,
Nothing beats beef happiness.
Yes.
I would give away this putter right now and buy another one to give away if it meant that I could guarantee a Spieth win. So,
Wow. We appreciate that.
you'd be surprised at how much money I'd pay for a Spieth win.
I'll say if he does win, you get a choice. This is a beautiful Mitsubishi
Wow!
PS3. It's like $20 online. You get the
$20.
Bettinardi, my putter, whatever you would like. If
You did.
If Spieth
Look
triumph.
at that, man.
Thank you, Dad.
I appreciate it. I was
Thanks for the
inspired
what's-
by it, Bob.
What's
I figured
that?
out
What's the model on that?
It is a PS3
Oh, okay.
Performance Series 3. I
That
actually
is
really
a
like it. I would
respectable piece of golf equipment.
please, yeah. It's old, but it's weighted well. There's a lot of weight in the toe, so I do not have the old Spieth push from 3 feet problem. Which
There
is
you go.
Wow. So
I
you're
agree.
saying that if Spieth wins, somebody will be cured of the pushes.
well, no. If Spieth wins, they will have a Bettinardi.
Hey, if they so
But they will
choose.
have the choice. If they
It
would
depends.
like,
It depends. I
$20
mean,
putter.
if you're really down bad with the pushes,
No, I mean, yeah.
He was doing the early walk thing though, which is a little bit concerning. During the par
Dan,
three,
thank
during the
you.
par 3 contest, Spieth. I mean,
Yes.
thank you, Dan, for
That's good stuff, Dan.
the choices.
Options are good. Options
Options are great. So I just really want Speed to win the Masters. I'll leave it at that. In honor of the Masters, I don't think there is any need for any exterior talk. It is the Masters.
Train starts tomorrow, leaves the station 2
Does
p.m.
leave the station.
Of course, we will be up for the honorary
We will be up
starters.
at
course,
7.
of course.
Attendance at
Taken.
7:25.
And but if you want to hop in full throttle, gas on the pedal, foot on the
Pedal to the metal. I think.
Greller conducting. I mean,
Greller
at
Greller.
the wheel.
Greller's been
And
plotting all week.
He has been.
Yep.
He's been plotting.
So-
He's plotted so much. I'm not gonna say it. We will wrap it up now. I
We will
believe
wrap it up.
we've run out of
Elyse, thank you as always for joining us. If you want to follow her, ES Golf Bets, no spaces, no caps on Twitter. She is the best in the business, to say the least, when it comes to golf betting. So we love to have her on as always. So it's been a good run. We went for almost 2 hours here, but there was a lot to talk about. And
real quick, because somebody put it in the chat. Yeah, if Spieth is in a good spot Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, depending on how good of a spot that is, there will be some content of some sort.
we'll be here. Yeah, we'll be here
Because obviously we will be here for it.
for
so,
sure.
Sounds good. Anything else? This was
thank
fun.
you guys for having me on. Yep.
No,
this is-
thank you, Elyse, for
Absolute
coming
pleasure
on.
is
hope I can
ours.
join the live. Hope I can join. If we
For
if you
sure.
guys
Yeah,
have
I mean,
something.
it'll be a fun.
Elyse,
for sure.
you are always welcome. Let it be
Yes.
known that you
Very
are
much
always welcome.
so.
Some people are not always welcome, such as Ryan, but
Sheesh.
you are always welcome, Elyse.
Hopefully, I'll
Thank you.
have a beer, and
There we
we'll
go.
be
Yes,
There we
there we go.
anticipating a very good Sunday.
That would be.
Thank you to everyone else for tuning in as well. We
Yes,
really,
But
we
yes,
really
we had a
appreciate it.
record viewing. We had almost 50 people at one point, which we have never had more than like 25. So
Yeah.
pretty impressive. I know that everyone just came for Elyse, but still, I mean, we appreciate the. I mean, people want to make money. It's all right. But again, we really do appreciate it. I've gotten a lot of DMs. I'm sure you have too, Jordan, about this week about how everyone's appreciating the content. Really appreciate
It's a
those
special week.
DMs.
It's a
It is
special
a special week. It's almost like it doesn't even feel real. Like this week is just so like the Masters, just everything surrounding it. Like I don't even believe that Augusta's a real place. Like it's just
week.
too
Well, considering how
perfect.
much it costs to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. But like just like the gate to drive in and the long road, like it seems like a fairy tale.
Money can buy lots of things.
Money can buy lots of things. If Spieth wins the Masters, maybe we'll think about going next year.
Who
But-
knows? That's an idea. But
That's an idea. Depends how much everyone here has wagered.
no comment. No
But
comment.
we'll leave it at that. So thank you all
Thank you
for
for tuning
listening,
everyone.
for tuning in. Hopefully someone gets a Bettinardi or a PS3.
Yes.
There
So
you go.
thank you for giving me the options, Dan. It was a pleasure,
That was
and
actually fun.
thank you all for tuning in.
Have a good
Peace.
night.
Thank
Take